We live in interesting times. Today's stories. NASA wants its international partners to go to the moon.
Just by show of hands, raise your hand if you've been to an IAC.
Senegalese households are close to benefiting from wind energy. From death strip to the green belt of life. A giant question mark highlights Indian plastic pollution. Thailand to ban glyphosate and other high-profile pesticides.
Which includes all the neighbor islands.
Hawaii voters are split over Congresswoman's presidential run.
Female combat veterans to ever serve in the U.S. Congress.
Facebook News tab seeks to reboot its role with media. Plus, precision, accuracy, and dependability in broadcasting at the NAB New York 2019.
Related information.
This is Eagle News coming to you from Washington, D.C., bringing you stories from around the globe. I am Rose Papa Angeles. As it looks to return to the moon, Global Space Chief said NASA is open to the idea of international participation, which could mean a non-American setting foot on Earth's natural satellite for the first time in history. NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine told reporters at the 70th International Astronautical Congress held in Washington, quote, "I think there's lots of room on the moon, and we need all our international partners to go with us to the moon." Bridenstine said, quote, "If we can come to agreements on the contributions of all the nations and how they're going to be a part of the architecture, then certainly I would. I would see that there'd be no reason we can't have all of our international partners with us on the moon. The Americans are developing a spacecraft, Orion, and a mini space station, Gateway, that will remain in lunar orbit, which will in theory be used for a first crewed mission in 2024, Artemis 3. Only one element of the mission will be produced outside the U.S., the Orion service module that will supply it with electricity, propulsion, thermal control, air, and water in space, and is being delivered by the European Space Agency. Only once the Gateway is expanded will non-Americans be able to make the journey too. John Warner, head of the ESA, at the same press conference said, quote, "We are in discussion also with NASA so that we have European astronauts on the surface of the moon. This is, of course, a European intention." He said, quote, "2024 is for sure something which is purely American. For Europeans, it could be 2027, 2028, something like that." For its part, Japan also wants to take advantage of the new U.S. program to write a new chapter in its own history. Hiroshi Yamakawa, president of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, said, quote, "It's a very simple question to me because JAXA would like to send Japanese astronauts to the surface of the moon." The buildings of the ISS in the late of 1990s and 2000s appeared to usher in a new era of space cooperation between the U.S. and Russia following the Cold War. But this time around, Washington is in no mood to work with geopolitical rivals. Specifically, the U.S. Congress has explicitly prohibited any cooperation with China, the world's biggest economy and an emerging space power. During his speech inaugurating the week-long conference, Vice President Mike Pence repeated 7 times that the U.S. wanted to work with, quote, "freedom-loving nations."
We are on the cusp of once again launching American astronauts on American rockets from American soil for the first time since the retirement of the space shuttles in 2011. And I want to be clear, we need to return to that activity, and we need to go with our international partners. We're looking for all of our international partners to step up and help us as we work to commercialize low Earth orbit. When we go to the moon this time, we go forward to the moon. We're not going back to the moon. We're not going to the moon. We're going forward to the moon. In other words, we're going to stay for long periods of time. We're going to go with international partners. We're going to go with commercial partners. We're going to utilize the resources of the moon. We're going to utilize the resources of the moon to learn how to live and work for long periods of time. And then ultimately, we're going to take what we build, what we understand, the technologies, the capabilities, the architecture, and as much as possible, we are building the architecture to be replicable at Mars. When we go to the moon for the first time, it will be international in nature. The European Service Module is a critical component to the Orion crew capsule. The Orion crew capsule is how we get our astronauts to the vicinity of the moon.
Senegal will soon see its first megawatts of industrially produced wind power, marking a step towards the goals of providing electricity for all and diversifying sources of power in favor of renewable energy. The Taïva Ndaye wind farm, Senegal's first industrial-scale wind energy project, is due to be linked to the grid in the second week of December.
Donc, le parc est un parc de 46 machines pour une capacité totale de 158 MW au total. Donc, la mise en marche ou la mise en service se fera en trois phases de 50 MW chacune. Alors, ce parc-là va couvrir à peu près en capacité installée 15% de la production nationale du pays. Rapidement, on peut le diviser, on peut servir des millions de personnes ou des millions de foyers suivant quel type de foyer dont on parle. Donc on est très fiers d'avoir implanté le premier parc éolien en Afrique de l'Ouest. Et donc je pense que pour le pays aussi, c'est un parc qui fait partie du programme Plan Sénégal émergent, si cher au gouvernement du Sénégal. Et aussi, avec ce parc-là, la Sénélec va avoir un mix énergétique qui va approcher de 25% d'énergie renouvelable dans le mix énergétique du pays.
Je crois qu'en l'espace de 2-3 mois, les choses ont réellement bougé ici. En termes d'infrastructure, en termes d'équipement. Je crois que, moi je l'ai dit et répété, je suis là depuis au moins 6 ans. Il y a des sociétés aussi puissantes, ou plus puissantes même que le parc éolien, qui sont implantées ici. Mais ce que le parc a fait en 2 mois, ces sociétés-là ne l'ont pas fait en 20 ans, 30 ans d'existence ici.
Once a zone blocked off with barbed wire, littered with landmines and manned by soldiers with shoot-to-kill orders, today much of the 865-mile border dividing the former East from the West is a thriving nature paradise, where more than 1,200 species on the red list of endangered flora and fauna can be found.
Das grüne Band ist ja unmittelbar mit der innerdeutschen Teilung verbunden. Ja, das war der frühere Todesstreifen, also die innerdeutsche Grenze. Und ja, es zeigte sich, dass durch die Grenzsituation hier eben Lebensräume von ganz besonderer Qualität sich noch erhalten konnten und das grüne Band ein Rückzugsraum für viele Arten geworden ist. Wir finden hier inzwischen in Deutschland über 1200 Arten der roten Liste, die am grünen Band leben. Und der wichtigste Aspekt dieser Unterschutzstellung wird sein, dass dann vor allen Dingen auch Geld und Personal für die weitere Entwicklung des grünen Bandes zur Verfügung gestellt wird. Zum einen, um Flächen zu kaufen, um die Flächen naturschutzgerecht zu entwickeln, aber auch um Aspekte der Erinnerungskultur. Das ist ja, diese historische Dimension ist ja untrennbar mit dem grünen Band verbunden und da besteht noch eine ganze Menge, ja.
Was wir hier drüben sehen, ist ein ehemaliger Wachturm, einer von den wenigen, die noch erhalten geblieben sind. Da haben ab und an mal Posten drauf gesessen und haben die Landschaft observiert, ob hier irgendwelche Flüchtlinge aufgetaucht sind. Etwas weiter in diese Richtung sehen wir den ehemaligen Kfz-Sperrgraben, hier vorne. Diese Einrichtung hatte vor allen Dingen den Sinn, Kraftfahrzeuge, die den Versuch unternommen haben, hier die Staatsgrenze zu durchbrechen, zu stoppen, indem sie da reingefahren sind. Die wirkliche Grenze befindet sich etwas weiter dort hinten, das ist die Waldkante. Das war dann tatsächlich Niedersachsen bzw. die BRD. hinter dem steht. Und so ist diese ehemalige Grenzanlage weitestgehend aus der Erinnerung der Leute verschwunden, weil der Anblick fehlt noch. Es sind nur noch wenige Stellen, an denen man das tatsächlich empfinden kann und den Leuten noch erzählen kann. Was wir hier heute haben, ist eigentlich eine schöne Natur. Wir haben hier viel Grünland. Wir haben hier viele seltene Tiere und Pflanzen. Deswegen ist das grüne Band eigentlich von einer großen Bedeutung hier in Deutschland. Vor allen Dingen durch den Wandel vom Todesstreifen in eine Lebenslinie. Ein schönes Stück Natur, was wir vom BUND versuchen zu erhalten hier in dem Bereich.
Street artist Daku's installation Why at the Hussain Sagar Lake in the southern Indian city of Hyderabad is a colossal question mark created by using 300,000 recycled plastic bottles. The installation is illuminated by LED light panels powered by solar panels. The artist, in a statement, said, quote, "This is my contribution towards changing perceptions about plastic, which is one of the biggest questions today. I hope this installation will help raise more questions about using plastic in people's mind. Waste is not segregated in India when it is collected, and vast amounts of plastic litter clog public spaces as well as water bodies. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is pursuing an ambitious project to phase out single-use plastics by 2022 in the vast South Asian nation, which has a population of 1.3 billion. Up next, Thailand to ban glyphosate and other high-profile pesticides. Hawaii voters are split over Congresswoman's presidential run. Facebook News tab seeks to reboot its role with media. Plus, precision, accuracy, and dependability in broadcasting at the NAB New York 2019. Eagle News will return in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is Eagle News coming to you from Washington, D.C. I am Rose Papa Angeles. Thailand edged closer Tuesday to banning glyphosate and two other controversial pesticides despite protests from farmers in a multi-billion-dollar agricultural industry aiming to be the kitchen of the world. Agriculture employs 40% of the Thailand's population, and the Southeast Asian country is one of the world's leading rice and sugar exporters. It is also one of the biggest consumers of pesticides, being banned or phased out in other parts of the globe because of links to a variety of illnesses. Officials said Thailand's National Hazardous Substance Committee voted to ban glyphosate and chemicals paraquat and glyphosate.
ผลการลงมติคือสารพาราคอตยกเลิกการใช้ภายในวันที่ 1 ธันวาคม 2562 จำนวน 20 คน
Paraquat, a herbicide which the U.S. Centers for Disease Control calls highly poisonous, has been banned in Europe since 2007. Studies have linked the pesticide chlorpyrifos to developmental delays in children, while critics say the weed killer glyphosate is a likely cause of cancer. Farming organizations and the chemical industry have lobbied for the continued use of glyphosate, sold under the trade name Roundup, made by Bayer's subsidiary Monsanto. In the U.S., there are more than 13,000 lawsuits with plaintiffs claiming glyphosate causes different kinds of cancer, even though it is widely used in agriculture there. The company has suffered several defeats in court that it plans to appeal against. Austria became the first European Union member to forbid all glyphosate use in July, with restrictions also enforced in the Czech Republic, Italy, and the Netherlands. France is phasing it out by 2023. Vietnam banned all herbicides containing glyphosate soon after the Roundup cases in the U.S., but the decision was swiftly denounced by the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, who said it would impact global agricultural production. Thailand's health minister, who has argued the pesticide put lives at risk, praised Tuesday's move as heroic on its Facebook page even as several dozen farmers protested, citing a rise in production cost.
ทางเราก็มองว่าไม่เห็นด้วยนะครับว่าการที่บอกว่าจะทำเพื่อให้ผู้บริโภคปลอดภัยจากสารเคมีแต่ว่าตัวทดแทนกลับเป็นสารเคมีเหมือนกันแบบนี้ก็ทางเราก็รู้สึกว่ามันไม่น่าจะถูกต้องนะครับ
ราคาสินค้าเนี่ยยังอยู่ระดับเดิม2 บาทอย่างมันสำปะหลังนะครับเนาะมันสำปะหลัง2 บาทแต่ถ้ามีการแบนสารนะครับผมขออนุญาตนะครับบอกว่ามันลำบากมากครับเกษตรกรนะครับไม่รู้จะเอาต้นทุนที่ไหน3 บาทกว่าจะนะครับถ้าในกรณีการแบนสารนะครับต้นทุนขายมันใน2 บาทกว่าแล้วเราจะลงทุนไปทำไมแล้วเนาะครับ
พาราควอดไกลโฟเสตและคอไพลิฟอสเขาเรียกว่าเป็นยาสามัญประจำบ้านในการรักษาพืชสารเคมีทุกชนิดมีอันตรายแต่ถ้าเราใช้มันอย่างถูกต้องถูกวิธีอันตรายก็จะไม่เกิดขึ้น
Thailand's Pesticide Alert Network, which has long advocated for the ban, thanked the government but said it needs to help farmers adjust to other methods. In other news, in Hawaii, with just over a year remaining before the 2020 U.S. presidential elections, there are still more than a dozen candidates vying for the Democratic Party's nomination. Eagle News correspondent Mio Asenas focuses on one of the youngest candidates who is struggling to stay the course while confronted with recent resistance from her own party and her own constituents. Here's the report.
Well, wow. I was a little bit shocked by that statement. I feel like Tulsi Gabbard is still a freshman legislator.
I believe that she has the passion, the respect, the confidence, the care, and also the aloha to run for the country's top job.
Tulsi Gabbard's political career began right here in Hawaii State Capitol in 2002. Fast forward 2 decades later, she's setting her sights on the highest office in the nation. Born in American Samoa in 1981, Tulsi was elected to the Hawaii State House when she was just 21 years old, becoming the youngest person ever elected in the Aloha State. A year later, she enlisted in the Hawaii Army National Guard, and in 2004, Gabbard volunteered to deploy in Iraq, becoming the first state official to voluntarily step down from public office to serve in a combat zone. She still serves in Hawaii Army National Guard, holding the rank of major. In 2010, Tulsi Gabbard was elected to the Honolulu City Council. 2 years later, she was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, serving Hawaii's 2nd District, which includes all the neighbor islands and areas outside of Honolulu. She became one of the first 2 female combat veterans to ever serve in the U.S. Congress, as well as the first Samoan and also the first Hindu member. In 2016, she gained recognition on the national stage when she stepped down as vice chairman of the Democratic National Committee in order to support the presidential campaign of Senator Bernie Sanders. In January of this year, during an interview with CNN, Tulsi Gabbard announced that she would challenge Donald Trump for president in 2020. Here are some mixed reaction from Hawaii residents.
I would say that less than 25% of the country knows who Tulsi Gabbard really is. She is a very smart woman. She has come very far very quickly, but still I feel that to be a president of the United States, you need to have a lot more seasoning amongst your constituents. I think she's done a good job here in Hawaii. I'm only disappointed that she would not debate other candidates. So that has always bothered me a little bit, but I have voted for her in the past.
Representative Gabbard knows about protecting our economy. What industry drives Hawaii's economy? It's the tourism industry that creates job opportunities for small businesses to grow. If you remember back in October 2018, Representative Gabbard joined the workers of Waikiki Hotel Union Local 5 at the picket line. She believes that because the cost of living here in Hawaii is pretty high, people should not be working 2 to 3 jobs just to make ends meet. She's an original co-sponsor of the Raise the Wage Act. That means she supported legislation to raise the federal minimum wage while she is still in Congress. Representative Gabbard continues to work day in and day out just to ensure that we have a sustainable economy that will help the people of Hawaii.
According to a recent survey by Public Policy Polling based in North Carolina, registered Democratic voters in Gabbard's own congressional district believe that, quote, she should drop out of the race and that she's likely to have trouble winning the nomination for another term in the next House next year, end of quote. Hawaii State Senator and fellow Democrat Kai Kahele is currently challenging Gabbard's congressional seat in Hawaii's 2nd District. A couple of weeks later, during a podcast interview, former Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton claimed that Russia has, quote, an eye on somebody who is currently in the Democratic primary and grooming her to be the third-party candidate. She's the favorite of the Russians, end of quote. At present, Tulsi Gabbard trails behind front-runners like former Vice President Joe Biden, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren. The first primary elections will be the Iowa caucuses on February 3rd, 2020. Reporting from Honolulu, Hawaii, I'm Mio Senos for Eagle News, 1 with 25.
Thanks, Mio. Gabbard immediately responded with a series of video and written tweets, including this one, quote, well, there have been countless hit pieces full of smears against me since day one of this campaign. They've tried to destroy my reputation and my lifetime of service because I stood up to them. But if they can falsely portray me as a traitor, then they can do it to anyone. And in fact, that's exactly the message that they want to get across to you. That if you stand up against Hillary and the party power brokers, if you stand up to the rich and powerful elite and the war machine, they will destroy you and discredit your message. Meanwhile, Facebook on Friday began rolling out its dedicated news tab with professionally produced content, the latest move by the social network to promote journalism and shed its reputation as a platform for misinformation. The tab being tested with some U.S. users will be separate from a user's normal feed and include articles from partner news organizations, making a clear distinction between journalism and stories shared by users from a wide range of sources. Chief Executive Mark Zuckerberg told an audience in New York in a joint appearance with CEO Robert Thomson of News Corp, one of the partners in the project, quote, this is going to be the first time ever there will be a dedicated space on Facebook app that is focused on high-quality journalism. The mix of stories in Facebook News will be determined by algorithmic personalization based on a user's preference and data, with journalists choosing some of the stories. The company said users would have more control over the stories they see and the ability to explore a wider range of their news interests directly within the Facebook app. Facebook is expected to pay some of the news organizations, reportedly millions of dollars in some cases, but has yet to disclose full details. Zuckerberg said Facebook would not seem to limit coverage of the company or himself. Zuckerberg said he sees the effort as important even if it is used by only a small percentage of Facebook users. And he said the company is in discussions to bring the feature to other countries. He said, quote, we want to do something like this across the world as well. The social network has partnered with some 200 news organizations, including The Wall Street Journal, USA Today, The Washington Post, CBS News, BuzzFeed, Fox News, The Boston Globe, Bloomberg, and Vanity Fair. Zuckerberg defended the inclusion of partners some criticize as a politically partisan, such as the right-wing outlet Breitbart, saying the news tab needs to have a diversity of views. Facebook said it would begin an initial test rollout which would showcase local original reporting from publications in major cities including New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Dallas, Philadelphia, Houston, Washington, Miami, Atlanta, and Boston. And now for business. Precision, accuracy, and dependability in broadcasting are highlights at the NAB New York 2019. Eliza Gonzalez-Manglik-Mott with the story.
Do you know how it feels like to be a kid in a candy store? Well, that's how those from the broadcast industry are feeling right now here at the National Association of Broadcasters show, New York. From top-of-the-line equipment to disaster response systems to lectures addressing issues broadcasters face today, such as, quote, deepfakes versus trusted content, all here at the Jacob Javits Center. Take a look.
This tech trade show is geared to a specific audience, the broadcaster. NAB puts on display in this two-day event a diverse collection of items that would benefit any news organization. From news gathering vehicles, to video editing software, to sound booths and audio equipment, to lights and things not so high-tech but still very much important, like office furniture.
Before the disaster or after the disaster, we are using data casting technology to provide the people about the disaster-related information to make them prepare for the disaster. Where is the shelters, where they can get the medical treatment and the food supply after the disaster, those kind of things. We are providing that information through the data casting on TV.
So today we're showing off, the new thing we're showing is our quad matrix. It's a modular system of our individual matrix units. So you can have a big, you can have a large source. You can use these quad Fresnel lenses to make it punchier, or you can take them out, and this is compatible with a number of soft boxes. So like a 5-foot or a 7-foot octa. So you could use it as a soft light or as a harder light. And it's and again, it's modular, so you can pull a single unit out, just 4 screws, and attach it to a yoke, and then use it that way as well.
So Unilumin is one of the largest manufacturers of LED in the world. This happens to be a 0.9 millimeter LED wall. So a 3x3 array of this product, which is U-panel, is native HD. So this is a native HD direct view LED product. Right. So one of the things about direct view LED is it's very bright. It's so traditional displays and backdrops and things like that are LCD. So LCD technology is reflective. So if you see people walk in front of LCD displays, you see a reflection sometimes. Studio lighting and things like that reflect off of the screen. And then brightness also. So you can get really rich color out of these displays. So we can meet Rec 709 and beyond with this technology. You don't have the reflectivity. So it's a really, you'll see a lot of the broadcast studios that are out there have already adopted this technology into their broadcast sets.
Well, what VCC does is really radical. We believe that everybody in the world is walking around with the world's best ENG tool sitting right here in their pocket, other pocket, and of course that's a smartphone. And we believe that we can get a high-quality live remote feed from anywhere in the world in just a few minutes over somebody's smartphone using the connectivity that they have, the device they have, without any downloads at all on the part of the interviewee. So this is a game-breaking technology. It's groundbreaking. We can bring in remotes. We can bring in audience aggregation the same way, and we can actually connect to people's control rooms, or we can produce programs without any control room at all using these remotes by smartphone.
Hello, we are with Benton White of The Whisper Room. Thank you for joining Eagle News.
Thanks for having us, Eliza.
Benton, share with us, what is The Whisper Room?
So the Whisper Room is a modular portable system that you can go in and record a broadcast. It's going to isolate the sound quite substantially. Today we have a 4-foot by 6-foot booth. We call it the Model 4872E. This is a double wall system that's going to help isolate. You can step on in here, and right when you walk in, you can kind of feel the difference.
Yeah.
So this is our studio light. It actually changes colors. We've got a lot of excuse me, guys. We have a lot of other optional features in the booth. This booth comes with a large window, so you can have visibility. It also comes with a series of these panels that you can move around to get the sound that you're looking for. It really helps with the reverberation inside a room. But all of our booths come standard with ventilation. It's going to help out cycle through the host room air so you can stay cool while you're doing your voiceover work. A lot of people use this for recording an audio book, or audiologists use them for hearing tests. There's a whole bunch of applications, really.
Okay, and they come in different sizes.
We have 26 different sizes and 2 levels of isolation. This is one of our smaller booths. They get quite big. Our largest is an 8x16 booth. You could actually fit a whole band in that if you'd like.
And if you want to record them.
And if you want to record them, you got it.
And you said it's modular. So.
This is modular, so each one of these pieces, they bolt together. So Eliza, you and I, we could actually assemble this whole booth in about 3 hours and tear it down in about half the amount of time.
Seeing the latest gear is not the only cool thing here, but the lectures on various topics given by speakers on stages strategically located throughout the venue.
To sustain one's relevance in this industry, one needs to keep up not only with the latest news, but also with the latest technology. But more importantly, delivering information with the sharpest detail, swiftness, and accuracy is the goal everyone here shares. From the NAB Show New York 2019, here in New York City, I am Eliza Gonzalez Manglikmont, 1 with 25.
Thanks, Eliza. That is today's Eagle News. Join us again tomorrow for stories that matter to you. Visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/eaglenews and on Facebook at facebook.com/eaglenews. Thank you for watching. Once again, I am Rose Papa Angeles, and I am 1 with 25.